Good evening, everybody that can hear me and everybody that will later hear this. Um, Thank you so much for inviting me over for this event, and we are going to get straight into it without wasting anybody's time, right? If at any point you can't um, hear me, please just let me know. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. Um, All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. Um, so again, if you can't hear me, please let me know. All right. Please confirm that you can see my screen. You can just react or something. Yeah, but just let me know you can see my screen. Okay. Okay, thank you. All right. This evening, well, evening your time and afternoon my own time, I will be talking about something that um, is very, very peculiar and that is very dear to my heart, actually, because I really want everybody to understand it. This was something that I wished that I knew at the start of my admission and scholarship process. And I mean, again, as James said, I'm a graduate student here in the USA. I'm in the final semester of my graduate program, which I'm excited about. And for some years, I've spent my time trying to explain and help people go through this process. And one thing that you can be sure of as you listen to me is that you are going to be unblocked. Somebody said that attended one of the sessions that I facilitated. She said she saw it, she saw the designs, and then she was like, "Oh, this is one of those information thing again." And then she joined, right? And she found help. Let me just put it that way. And because I got to speak to her one-on-one later, and then she told me how that she found help and even went ahead and told her friends that come and see and found a place where the information is accurate. I've never met her before, and that's because the way I teach, the way I communicate this thing is in such a way that I mean, first, the things I'm going to talk about is a product of number one, not just of experience, research, and things that has been tried and tested. And I do that because I found out that the issue with many people is not that they don't have the profile, it's not that they don't know, they don't want it. Sometimes they just need somebody to be able to unblock them, to hold their hands and give them like a roadmap. So the things I'm going to be talking about is like a roadmap that at least many people want this and they're like, where do I even start? When I start, which area do I need to check? Those are the real questions that are in the hearts of people. And that's where it concerns the United States, where I'm going to be pointing you to. And that's why I've called it the ABC of admission and scholarship in the USA. Regardless of the year that you are listening to this, regardless of the time the time zone that you are listening to me, regardless of the part of the world that you're going to be watching this, the things that you're about to hear is going to help you. It's going to help you regardless of your situation, your grade, your profile, whether you want to do a PhD, a master's, it's going to help you. So brace up and stay true, right? Yeah, let's get into it. The ABC of admission and scholarship in the United States of America, right? Okay, so we are not going to say much, I believe, but I'm going to walk you through these five things. First is the three most important questions that you need to ask yourself. The second thing are the forms of fully funded scholarship in the United States. The third are the five most important documents that you need to have. And then number four, which is the ultimate strategy of application. I had a want of word for that place, but the idea there is I'm going to teach you the actual secret of making sure that any school that you are submitting your application to is a school that you know that you have a very, very, very emphasis on very, very high chances of getting not just admission, but scholarship from them. And of course, at the end, I'm going to let you know the special offer that I have specifically for those who are participating in this webinar, right? Let's get into it. Okay, so the three most important questions to ask. Now, many people are always like, um, I want to go and study abroad. I want to go to the United States. But I always say that there are three major questions that you need to be able to answer, and that is going to help you. And as we continue this conversation, you will find out how I keep implementing the answers to those questions. And I also use myself as examples, right? Now, the first question that you need to ask is, what do I want? What do I want is a question of what program do I want to study? Is a question of, do I want to do a master's program or a PhD program or an MBA program? That's the question. What do I want is, as I'm going for my study abroad, do I want to travel with my family? So you have to know what you want. Don't, at this point, don't think about the grade you graduated. Don't even think about the course you did at your undergraduate, because I understand that, and I've seen many people like that, right? I understand that sometimes you possibly did physics from your country in your undergraduate program, and now you're coming to the United States and you're like, I think based on what I want now, I think I want to do data analytics. And you're like, they are not there. I don't have the background. Leave that. At this point, just the idea, think about it this way. If you are given a blank sheet where all things you want will be made to, all things you want will be allowed to happen. The question is, what do you want? And that's the question. That's what you are being asked here. So what do you want? So for instance, for me, I had the option of maybe doing a PhD program, or okay, let's start with course. I knew that I did computer science in my undergraduate, but I knew that at this point, with the experience and skills that I've built in tech, software engineering, and the likes, I saw that as I grew, I wanted to understand more of the intersection of technology, that's building products, tech products, business, that's the revenue, the finance, yeah, the business side of things, and then management. And the course that I saw that looked close to that was information systems. The next question now becomes, still part of what do I want is, do I want to do a PhD or a master's program? And I saw that for me, what I wanted to do first, was a master's program, right? So, and I have like my reasons for that. Now, that did not mean that if I had gotten a PhD program, I would have gone for it, but preferably a master's program. So you need to know what you want, right? Then the next thing is, now that you know what you want, what do you have? What do you have is that what in your profile, what in your possession do you have that can bring you to achieve this aim? Let me quickly go back to that. What do you want? Part of what do you want also is, are you looking for a fully funded scholarship or a partially funded scholarship, or you are willing to sponsor yourself to the US? But of course, I believe that if you are watching this video, if you are here, it's because you are also interested in the fully funded scholarship. So yeah, in essence, I'm assuming what you want for you in that category. So next thing now is, what do I have? Right. So those are where you now start asking yourself the question of, what skills do I have that is relevant to this program? For instance, yeah, the person that I know that did physics as an undergraduate program and is now doing data analytics, one of the things he went to see is that, oh, I have a physics this thing. What else do I have in my hand that can help me here? Okay, maybe let me go and learn data analytics. Let me learn data analytics from Google Analytics, something like that. And that was good, right? So what do I have? Right? What is my CGPA? What's my experience? What certifications do I have? What experience do I have? So you need to know what you have. That's talking about your profile, your qualification, your skills. So you need to know them, right? And then now that you know what you want and what you have, so based on what you know and what you have, the next thing is now to ask yourself the question, where can I get it? Let me put this in perspective for you. So after I have answered my own two questions, I knew number one, I wanted to do a master's program. It has to be fully funded, and then it has to be in information systems, or a course rather, or a program that is closely related to that. And then what do I have? I had a first class. I had experience in computing, I mean, software development and the likes. I have both volunteer and work experience. I have that. But what don't I have? I knew that I did not have GRE. And it might be as if I'm going ahead of myself, but just pay attention to what I'm saying for now. So GRE is basically like a standardized exam that people do, graduate schools do, but you don't always have to do it. That's just by the way, it's an optional thing, especially for many courses. So I know I didn't have that, right? Uh, but I knew what I had. So that means that as I begin to look out for school, and that is the question of where can I get it? I am only looking for schools, number one, that has the course that I want to study. Number two, that they are going to provide funding for that course, right? And then number three, in providing that funding for me, they are not going to require that I submit a GRE. They are only going to require that I submit my transcript and my CV and maybe my statement of purpose, which I'm going to talk about shortly. So as I was doing my search of where can I get it, I was only looking for schools that aligned with what I want and what I have. And let me just tell you now, there is a school that has it. Especially in the United States, there is a school that has that thing that you want. It's just a matter of information. So I believe that gives you some perspective as to answering those three questions, right? The next thing is, what are the forms of fully funded scholarship in the USA? Right? What are the forms of fully funded scholarship in the USA? Remember, we're talking about fully funded scholarship. You might have checked online, you have seen different forms of scholarships, you'll be hearing scholarship, but this time around, we're saying fully funded scholarship. The first thing you need to understand is the United States, like so many other countries, they don't just give money out for giving sake, if you get what I'm saying. They didn't just say, oh, we have some money, let's just trade out to people and just give it to them. Let them just pay their school fees and then let them come. It has to be something for something, kind of. So it's like, I would not necessarily say transactional, but you have to do something. So that means that, and that's the reason why you see that the things I am writing here are called assistantship. So assistantship basically is that structure that says that you are doing something for an institution, and in return, they are covering your tuition and sometimes paying your stipend, right? Your stipend for that thing that you're doing. And the first one is the research assistantship, or what in some schools comes in form of what is called fellowship. But really, in practice, they are essentially the same thing. If you ask me, I may be wrong, but if you ask me, they are essentially the same thing. Because I've seen people that say they have fellowship, but they are doing the same thing in practice that a research assistant is doing. But what is the idea of research assistantship? I don't have a definition for it, right? But I like to say it this way, and I think it just helps. Research assistantship is a department he's possibly gotten an NSF grant. He's gotten a grant. He's working on a research. That's the important thing. And then he's saying, as a graduate student, come and work with me on this research. And from my grant, or it might be a department, work with us on this research as an assistant. And then in response, we are going to cover your school fees, right? And then we are going to pay you a monthly stipend throughout the duration of your program. This is one of the most common forms of scholarships in the United States. It's one of the most common. And of course, because the country is a research intensive country, they are gradually, working to make sure that they are ahead, of other countries in terms of research. And so that would explain why you've seen things like that. In fact, I remember that just this summer, there were so many professors I was seeing on LinkedIn that were announcing that they've gotten a lot of funding. So there is funding when it comes to research assistantship, right? I remember there was one of the guys that I was helping through this process, and the professor that he was going to do his interview with, and I'm talking about this admission cycle. This person has recently just gotten, I think, about $2 million in addition to the research grants that she already had. So that kind of person, any student that can get into a research lab is going to be funded. I wanted to say enjoy, but you're going to work, but it's going to definitely be funded. So year in, year out, these people are getting funding. More new people are joining in terms of professors, and there are existing professors that are getting more funding. So this is why it's one of the common ways. And this also will also explain why most of the international students, and by most, I just don't want to say all, right? But when I say most, like a very large proportion of international students who are PhD students are usually on some form of research assistantship. Some of them are on teaching assistantship, but this is the reason why many of them are on research assistantship. And the reason is because, um, and it also explains why some masters, like more in terms of research assistantship, more PhD program get research assistantship than master's program. Again, that doesn't mean that there are no master's program that get research assistantship. Don't quote me wrong, but I'm saying that it is more, and I will explain it so that you also see that it's very logical. The PhD students would definitely use an average of 3.5 years for their PhD program. Most use between 4 to 5 years. That means that you are going to be with this professor for the span of that amount, that duration of your program. So you are going to be able to like do a lot of work, make a lot of progress in helping them complete the research that they are working on. But if you are a master student, at most maybe 18 months, at most 2 years. I know there are some master's programs that are like 3 years. I'm just hearing about those recently too. But mostly 2 years, you are done like that. So they're like, if they have to choose between you and a PhD student, you see the thing now. That's research assistantship, right? That's for research assistantship. Then, but again, like I said, it doesn't mean that there are no research assistantship for master students. The important thing is that you need to understand this, at least at this point, that it is do work with me, provide some assistance for me in this research that I'm working on, and I'm going to pay your school fees. Teaching assistantship is quite straightforward. The idea is there is a course. For some of you that are from schools in West Africa, you will know that there are, especially specifically Nigeria, you will know that there are some courses that we take that are called general courses, right? There is a form of that also here in the US. And the idea of general courses, like we have it in Nigeria, is that there is a course that, number one, is compulsory for every undergraduate to take. And that would mean that there is a large enrollment in terms of the number of students that are going to be taking that course every semester. And the only thing is just that with the United States, they want to make sure that the amount of student to teacher ratio is kept minimal. So, and that is where graduate assistants that are teaching comes in, and that's the teaching assistantship coming. So, a course like Prob and Stat, that's like probability and statistics, that almost all undergraduates have to take as a requirement. So, what they do in that case is that they make sure that they assign graduate assistants, as graduate students rather, to take those courses, right? At least if you are a mathematics student that is in your master's program, definitely you should be able to work around Prob and Stat. For instance, I teach computing students. I'm a teaching assistant, by the way, right? That's a form of scholarship that I got. If you are a computing student, if you are doing your master's in information systems or information technology or computer science, the expectation is that, of course, they are going to do their own screening and all, but it will mean that they expect that at least if you're able to teach simple things like how to use a computer, simple things like how to work around certain applications on the computer, because those are the basic things that are being taught in some of these general courses. So the idea, in summary, of teaching assistantship is that you should be able to teach people as a graduate student, and then if you are given the opportunity, it means that you are teaching, and in return, they are paying your school fees and they are giving you a stipend monthly. That's teaching assistantship. The third one, which you will mostly not see publicly, and by publicly, I'm not saying that it is hidden. I'm saying that it is really not pronounced. But as I got here and began to observe and do a lot of research, I found out that many master's students who are on fully funded scholarship, right, and did not get the teaching assistant or a research assistant, many of them that are on fully funded scholarship are getting what is called the administrative assistantship. And for many of you, this is the first time that you are hearing this. The administrative assistantship is that assistantship where you are working with most times a non-academic unit or department on campus, and in return they are paying your school fees and giving you a stipend monthly. A very good way to see this is that for many schools here in the US, they have what is called library, and many times their library run for about 24 hours. Now, they need help in terms of people that can, for instance, be at the information desk to be able to help students. Maybe a student is trying to return a book, return a device that he borrowed from the library, something like that. So they need people round the clock. And so that is where administrative assistantship come. I have friends here who their own graduate assistantship, which is an administrative assistantship, is at the testing center. So students that want to like use the CBT center, I'm very sure if you are Nigerian or Ghanaian, you know what is CBT. So help in those kind of places is a G. People get graduate assistantship. Yeah, there's some department that they need somebody that can assist with, analyzing the data of the students, at the management level. So I know two of my friends that got a job on the basis of being able to do data analysis. That is administrative assistantship, right? So these three are the forms in which fully funded scholarship comes in the United States. So as you are listening to me, if you eventually get a fully funded scholarship, I am very sure most probably it's going to be any of these three. I mean, there are some external scholarship like maybe MasterCard scholarship that people get like that, but I'm talking about typically scholarship that is offered by the school, not external, that is offered by the school or the department that you are getting into, right? So let us sink in. We are just getting started. If you are just joining us, we are talking about the ABC of admission and scholarship in the United States. And like we love to say, the United States is the king of scholarship, right? And then I've spoken about the three questions that you need to ask yourself. And now we are on the forms of fully funded scholarship that are in the United States. And it's very important that you understand this so that it helps you basically to know what it is that you are looking out for in any school, right? And to talk about this administrative assistantship, as I said, that the reason why I say sometimes is not largely spoken about is because sometimes you don't see it like out on the department when you're trying to apply, where you're applying to. You can be in the way it works. You can be a student of computing, a student of history, a student of criminology, and then your administrative assistantship is in the history department. You see that? So what many schools do is that they have a website where they list all of these openings. So by the time you have gotten an admission, you can now go to that website and begin to apply as though you are applying for a job. Do you understand? So if you are seen as a good fit through that interview process or through that screening process, where you submit your CV like you're applying for a job, then they will reach out back to you and tell you, and trust me, I know many people that have gotten scholarships through this means. So it works. All right, let's continue. Now, regardless of the stage that you are by the time you are hearing me, whether you're just getting started or you are, you don't even know where to start at all, or you have already started, there are 5 documents. I call them 5 most important documents that you need to have as you are. So this is one of the things that you need to know, right? That I even want to start. What do I need, right? Number one is a valid, and I'm very specific with that a valid international passport. Validity means that at the time you'll be traveling, that passport must have about 6 months expiry date, right? I remember in my own case that my passport was just about a year and some months out, for it to expire as at the time that I was actively applying. So check your passports. It will shock you to know that you have, because some schools actually need your passport in the point of application. This is why this is very important. So make sure. Yeah, it might seem like a no-brainer, but a valid international passport is very important. Your academic CV. And we use the word academic here just so you know that it is not just your CV. In recent times, we offer the services of helping people to review CVs, which I will get to shortly. Many people, when they are sending their CV, I'm like, you are not applying for a job. You're applying to go to school. They are two different things. And I said they are two different things because the kind of things that you're trying to show me if you're applying to come and study for a program is not necessarily the same thing that you'll be emphasizing when you are trying to apply for a job, right? Of course, work experience, but there are other things when it comes to academic CV. You have to tell us about your research interests, and just in brief, Tell us about your research interest. And tell us about, your education. If you finish the first class, you want to put it out there. You want to tell us about your work experience, especially the ones that aligns with this program that you are wanting to do. A young lady who finished school with a third class in Nigeria, and we're trying to prepare her. By the time, by the way, she has an admission now, right? And so, more reason why you should listen to me. I know this thing. Yeah. So, by the grace of God. So, the young lady finished the third class, and then one of the things that we did, because I needed to see where the strategy comes in, is that our academic CV, we made sure that we show that, well, she might have had a third class, right? But in terms of experience, she has a lot of experience in this course that she's trying to apply to. Actually, she did get an online MBA too in one of these online MBA this thing. So we try to show that see, this person has tried to work on herself by even getting an online MBA. So that is your CV is saying, this is who I am. This is what, remember what the question of what do I have? It is in that place that you should show it. And if you forget anything concerning CV, one of the things I want you to remember is that there is nothing that is irrelevant. I learned this the hard way. I thought that, oh, I'm trying to apply for a professional program, information technology. I don't need to add anything about the teaching experience that I had, because I went to University of Education for my undergraduate program where I did teaching practice for 6 months. I didn't know that that thing was gold. So I didn't include it in my CV, right? Of course, long story short, I eventually got a teaching assistantship. But later when I was trying to check what the requirements was, I found out that that they mentioned that a teaching experience, see, this is the thing about information, your teaching experience must also be included. So just like me, in case there are some information that you don't get to find out, your CV can still speak for you regardless. So put your relevant professional experience, put your teaching experience, put your volunteering experience, put your leadership experience, put your put the skills that you have, put the awards and honors that you have gotten, right? If you were the second best graduating student in your class, put it. If you were the best graduating student in your class, put it. If your final semester, maybe you had a 5.0, or maybe you had it once, put it. Even if you did not finish the first class, put it. Anything that you think that is a fit. And that's one thing you should remember in this US. Even by the time you get here, this is a very important thing. Anything that is a fit, that not everybody has that kind of achievement in quotes that you have, you must include this. You must tell us about it, right? And mostly this CV should just be about 2 pages, right? So at the same time, it must be articulate with all of those things that you are listing. And we'll get to how we can help you, with academic CV shortly. But just know that academic CV, transcripts is transcript. But basically, your transcript is like the detailed presentation of your results from your first semester in school to your final semester in school. So that means that, and not just for your undergraduate program, right? Even if after um, if after you did your undergraduate program, right? If after you did your undergraduate program, you forgot to, I mean, maybe I said forgot. If you went ahead to do like a graduate program, can definitely include that. Yeah, it's not unusual at all. Can definitely include that in your presentation, you must also submit that transcript. That's where I'm going. You must also submit that transcript. And so what's your transcript? Your transcript is just your transcript is not a statement of results. Your transcript is not a document that says this person finished the second class upper, this person finished so great. No, the transcript is what details the course that you are doing from first semester to the final semester. You know why it is important? Many people think that, and I need to say this, and this is something that I newly found. Many people think that what just matters is what they graduated with. No, as it turns out, and if some of you that are listening to me, if you have checked some schools, you'll find out I have seen programs where they will tell you that, listen to this, some programs, two things. Some programs will say that they want to see, let's say you're applying for mathematics, they want to say that the person has done linear algebra. Not just have you done linear algebra, they will say, and that you have maybe an A or a B in that linear algebra. So it's your transcript that will show them that. So that means that even in that semester where you did that course, maybe you had 3.5 something, but in linear algebra, you had maybe 80 something. It will help your application. And this is the reason why if there's anything I really want to tell on a graduate student that might be planning to apply to graduate school is that do all you can to just get the best grades that you can get in every course. Because you can say, oh, you can finish the first class and there's one course that you had a very low mark in, and it's one of the important courses that they are looking at to determine your admission. Some schools are not looking at the grade. Some schools are looking if you have done some of those courses. Some of them, it's not that they will not admit you. They will now say, maybe you need to go and take those courses again as a prerequisite. But it's your transcript that will tell them that. Do you know another interesting thing? Some people say, oh, maybe from their first semester, 100 level, second, and they look at their result, they are not happy that, my result, I finished with 3.5, 3.6, and all of those things. But in that your 3.6, it might be that your last 2 semesters, maybe you started putting some energy and you find out that maybe you had a 4 point something. Are you aware that that can even help? Because I saw in requirement that some school will say things like, if they are checking that, do you in your last 2 semesters were you able to have like good grades in courses? This is really interesting. I don't know why they do that thing. They said that your last 60 credit hours, which is typically or approximately like your last 2 semesters or your last semester, that what did you finish it? And that's the reason why, again, another thing I also tell undergraduate students is don't follow that trend that says that, oh, like it's the final semester. I already know what I'm going to graduate, so you're not putting any energy in your courses. If you are planning to go to graduate school, don't do that. Give the same energy that you have given from the beginning to the end. So in terms of transcripts, you need to be able to get that right ready. At least have what is called a student transcript or what is called an unofficial transcript. There is unofficial transcripts and then there is official transcripts. These are terminologies that you'll be seeing when you begin to apply to schools. What is official transcripts? Official transcripts simply means that if you have observed the way I define things here, I define them by how it works. I don't use like it can be defined as I define them by how it works. So official transcript means that the school that you graduated from, where you got this result from, that school will send your result directly to the school that you are applying to. Unofficial transcripts is that you have a copy of this your results with you, and you submitted it yourself at the point of application. However, the school that you are submitting it to is later going to request for an official transcript upon admission. So the idea is that you're just saying that, okay, show us your results. Let's use it to evaluate you and give you an admission. But we expect you to give us the official copy of these transcripts. That is the meaning. The next one, and this is one of the important ones, the almighty statement of purpose, or what some schools call the personal statement. The statement of purpose statement of purpose is basically the document that says that, oh, you're applying to our school, you're welcome, but can you please explain to us your background? And so first, like your motivation for this course, for why you are coming for our program. What is your background, right? Do you have relevant skills that is in alignment with this course? Also, you are also now checking, another thing you want to pay attention to when you're writing your SOP is also making sure that you tell us like, why are you choosing this particular school? Why are you choosing this particular program, right? So that's where you tell your story. That's where you tell your story, right? And it's very, very important. One thing you should not do with statement of purpose, number one, is don't go and just copy someone else's draft online and put it. You can read other people's drafts to have an idea of what to write, but don't copy someone else's draft and just change it just because the person is doing your course. No, our stories are different, our motivations are different, and that originality or authenticity is what they still want to see in your application. It doesn't have to be a lot, maximum like maybe a page or two, or like a page and a half or 2 pages. Just tell us your motivation. What did you observe that is pushing you? What have you done in terms of your undergraduate, or even if you have a master's program, what have you done in that regards that that is fueling you to want to come and do this? Why are you choosing this school to want to apply for? Have you seen the work of a particular professor that you think is very, very relevant to what you are doing and you want to work with them? So that's what you're talking about in your statement of purpose. Now, there are some schools that, as you begin to apply, you observe this. There are some schools that when you're applying to them, they are saying things like, they are saying things like, they have their own specific questions that they expect your personal statement or your statement of purpose to answer. A quick advice I will give you anyway is that as you begin to apply to schools, first have a particular statement of purpose draft, as I call it, where you have explained all your motivation and all of those things. So if there are now schools that you're applying to that have specific requirements, those kind of schools, you are going to make sure that you you that it will be easy for you to bring it out of that major draft that you have. The final document, I put this on that document, but in recent time I've been thinking about it. Like, is it really a document? But it's a document, right? It's a recommendation letter. Now, the advice here as you begin to prepare is that try to make sure that you have at least three people that are available on standby to write recommendations for you, or what is called referees. And most importantly, please make sure that at least two of them are like academic, right? Uh, Guys, recommendation letter is very important. What is said about you is not just what is said about you in that recommendation letter is equally important. Who is recommending you and what is said about you in your recommendation letter is very, very important. Is very important. Is very, very important. Very, very important. So you want to pay attention to that. Your passport, your CV, your transcript, your statement of purpose, and your recommendation letter. Get those things ready. Have at least three people that are willing to write recommendations for you. And make sure that what they are writing for you is very, very good. Also, because everything is looked into. By the way, when it concerns admissions and being given admissions, these 5 documents, they are the things that speak for you. And they are looked at holistically. What I mean by holistically is that it's not just your transcripts that matters. It's not just your CV that matters. Everything matters. Everything matters. Everything in this, everything here, including every of your recommendation letter matters. Take it from me. Everything matters. So you want to put the work in preparing everything. All right. If this has been helpful to you so far, let me just get some reaction and let me know that you're following me. As we begin to wrap up, right? Let me get some reaction. Let me know that some people are following me, please. Are you with me? Okay. Is it only one person that is hearing me? Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Now, the next thing is we are now in the ultimate strategy, like the easy way to knowing school that has full funding for you. How do you know that a school has full funding for you? There are many schools in the US. Remember that part when we said, what do you want? What do you have? And remember the specific part, where can I get it? How to know where you can get it is what I'm about to teach you. How to know the place that can give it to you is what I'm about to teach you in this part. And I want to pay attention. So the easy way to know a school that has full funding. When you are looking for a program, you will see many schools that has the program that you want to study. But the real question, remember, is you are looking for funding. So which school has a funding for me? How do I know that a school has funding for me? Right? 2 things I will tell you. The first thing is that, and I'm going to show you, but I don't say it first. The first thing is that when you get to the website of that program that you're looking for, right? And some might even be like, oh, how do I even know these schools? There are many schools in the US. Like, if you go to Google, I mean, and AI has made things really better now. Just say, give me a list of, you still definitely have to do the work, especially because you're looking for funding. Give me a list of schools that have a master's program in computer science in the US. You will see plenty of schools. Then give yourself the time and say, I will be checking 10 of these schools every day. Now, as you are checking those schools, what are you looking for? How do you know the one to apply to? How do you know the one that has the high chance? I am telling you what I did. Mhm. So the first thing you want to see is, of course, do they have your program? But the first thing you really want to see when you're checking the school is, do I meet their requirement? Right. So remember, for instance, for me, I wasn't going to do GRE. So there are some schools say GRE is important. So those kind of schools now you rule them out automatically if you are not doing GRE. Right. Um, you want to see if you meet their requirement. You want to see, for instance, if they are insistent that you must provide English, um, an evidence of your English proficiency, especially requesting for things like IELTS. Now, for the United States, for countries in West Africa, majorly in Nigeria, Africa, places, many of those countries where English is the official language there, I know that the United States like exempts them from providing IELTS. So you can be very sure that there are just few schools that would ever say that you must provide IELTS. But again, you still need to look and don't make assumptions. If you are not sure, I'm about to tell you what to do in that case. So really look at it and see that are these, do I meet these requirements of this particular school? Now, once you see that you meet the requirements, the next thing is that on every program's website, now this is the secret. So I almost spoke pigeon. This is the secret. There is someone that is referred to as the graduate program coordinator. That is the contact person for every question that you have. You will now go ahead and get the email of that person. Anything that is not yet clear to you to help you make your decision of whether or not to apply to this particular school, you will ask that person. Like I always say, they pay them to answer you. Many people don't know that's their work. They pay them to be answering both current and prospective students if they have any questions. So, excuse me, go ahead and ask the person. I've checked your website. I can see that I made a requirement. I just want to know, do people have full funding? If you have full funding, do I need to reach out to an advisor, especially if you are maybe a PhD student or even a master's student, because sometimes the professor that is in charge of funding for the student that work with him, do I need to reach out to an advisor or a faculty member to be able to get this funding? Do I need to submit a separate application to get this funding if there is any? Okay, I saw that IELTS is a requirement. I'm from Nigeria. English is the first language, for example. English is the first, is the official language of my country. I was taught in English. I can show that with my transcript. Do I still need to provide IELTS? So ask those questions. The response that those people provide to you is going to guide you and help you know that, oh, okay, am I sure I'm going to? And there are some schools, and I'm going to use that school as an example for you. Uh, and this is a free distance, by the way. And that is one of those schools that you can be sure that you most probably get funding for any program that you're doing. It's called Purdue University. That's the school I'm going to use as an example. So there are some schools that we even tell you the percentage of students that they admit that get funding each year. But let's get right into this demo real quick. Let's get right into this demo real quick. I'll just show you right now. Let me pull up the website. Um, okay. So let's use an example of a particular school. Okay, please confirm that you can see my screen. Please confirm that you can see my screen. So this is Purdue University, right? Great school. So let's look for a course. So give me an idea. Let me just know if you are even with me. Can someone just give me, let's look for a course. Just give me an idea of a program that we can search for in this school. So many times, most schools that are designed to be similar. So use this as your guide to check any website of any school. So for instance, you will see things like academics, or admissions. Those are the places that you are looking for. But Purdue University is one of an example of an organized school website. I really love what the presentation of their website. So is someone giving me an idea? Are you with me? Give me what course do you want me to search? So let's go to graduate programs. What course do you want me to search? You can unmute your mic and answer me actually. Or
Innovator and
just
business
drop it in the chat. Let's see. Somebody drop the chat. Data engineering. All right, let's see. Do we have data engineering? So graduate programs, right? We have come to graduate programs. Okay, I'm seeing data science. I don't think they have data engineering. I've actually not had that course before. I know data analytics, I know data science, maybe data science and engineering. But the data science that they have is an online course. That's not an example I really want to use. You are looking for a course because for you to come, your course uh has to be on ground or what we call in person here in the US. So okay,
What about
did somebody
computer
drop on?
programming? Like computer programming.
All right, okay, let's see let's see computer and information technology masters. All right. Can you see this code? Number one, the program itself has a website, and there's what we call the admission requirements. Those are the things you are looking for something, right? So, but let's quickly look at something in this code. They already tell you that 31% of applicants are admitted. That means that out of 376 applicants that applies to the program, 107 were admitted. This was for 2024. So they are giving you an idea. Again, not every school does this. So this is peculiar to Purdue University. By the way, watch this. Remember, we are looking for funding. They are already telling you here that actually we have funding. Do you remember everything I explained to you? Can you see fellowships, research assistantship, teaching assistantship, other funding? Is that not everything I just said now? So you know that what I teach is confirmed. Now, 65% of students receive funding. So they are telling you already, leave the 65%. The first thing they are telling you guys is that we offer scholarship in this department. That's a very key information. So this department has funding. The next thing is, how do I get it? This department has funding and I want it, right? So the next thing you now do, if it's a department you want to apply to, is go and check the admission requirements. Then so they have a PhD program for it, and then they have a master's of science for it. By the way, don't go and make the mistake of going to apply to an online master's program if what you want is is on ground, or what they are calling residential in this school, so that you not go and so look at their requirements. Can you see the things I told you? Transcripts. Can you see recommendation letters? Some schools request for 2, some schools request for 3. Can you see academic statement of purpose? Then personal history statement. So Purdue University even have what they call a personal history statement. And by the time you open this, they will explain to you what that means, by the way, right? They will explain to you what that means. And they will tell you what they are expecting. Can you see? Describe your background, describe how your life experiences. So they will tell you what they need, right? So you can see that those are the documents I explained to you. Then GRE or GMAT. So this school requires GRE. So for me now, for instance, when I was looking out for schools and I already said I'm not going to write GRE, I would have possibly skipped this school or note them down and maybe reconsider, excuse me, taking a GRE. Now, English proficiency requirement. So they are telling you that they have a basic requirement. Now, make sure you go and read this thing for any school just to be sure to know if that school requires GRE. So can you see now, they say that citizen of or degree from English speaking country. So go and check, is your country under this list? So if you are from Nigeria, for instance, you find out that Nigeria is there. Let's see, is Ghana there? Yes, Ghana is there. Let's see what other country. India is not here. That's interesting, by the way. But anyway, so look out. So if your country is here, that means that you don't need to do what? To provide the IELTS. You see, detailed. So you actually find most of your answers when you visit the website of schools this way. So they already tell you things like application deadline. And in terms of application, okay, I'll say that after now. Now, this is the reason why I brought you here. Don't let us lose the focus. The reason I brought you here is that now that, and I'm also doing a demo for you, now that you have read all of this information, if you now look at it and say, I like this school, but I still have some questions. If you have any other question, this is how to determine a school to apply to. Any other questions that you now have in your heart that is not clear to you after you have read everything on this website, then you will send it to the program contact information that is provided. Some schools will directly write graduate coordinator. any contact email that they provide for you there, that's the person you are looking for. Send an email to this person and they are going to respond to you. So this Joy Kane, that's the person you are looking for. They have your answers. The response that that person now provide to you is what is going to help you determine whether or not you want to work with that school. And if you are listening to me now, and I think that's a very good demo of a school that you should really look out for. So let's continue our presentation. I hope that helped somebody. But that's pretty much how it works, guys. That's how it works. So that's the work you have to do, right? Now, when it comes to when to apply, this almost skips my mind. So when it comes to when to apply, when it comes to when to apply to a school, the best time to apply to a school is the fall semester. I forgot to mention that part. And that's the fact that in the US, there is the summer semester, there's the spring semester, and then there's the fall semester. So the fall semester is typically when a new session begins. So that means that there is a large amount of students that have graduated in that previous semester, and many schools they have large openings. You see, the spring and the summer semester are supplemental semesters. So it would explain to you why there are more openings for both admission and for funding in the fall. So target the fall. The other thing is ensure to apply early. So if you are listening to me now, you should be targeting to get into school next year fall. That's fall 2026. And now you should have been getting ready all those documents that I talked about and getting ready to apply, because this September into October, admissions for next year, August, which is fall, we start opening up. So get ready for that. All right. So we are in the final end of this, and I'm going to take questions shortly. So let's start getting your questions ready, guys, please. So I've come with a special offer for you. We have services that we offer, right? So if you are trying to do a 45 minutes consultation with us, basically where we have a one-on-one with you, you meet with us, you try to explain where you are at. And I mean, from the presentation I've done, it shows that we actually know this thing. So yeah. So for the purpose of those who are attending this webinar, and maybe if you come across the video, you might still be able to consider, but we brought two forms of our services, and that's, we can help you write your academic CV, write your SOP comprehensively, and then recommend. That means we will not allow you to go through the stress. We will search the schools that is better suited for you, that is offering funding, and then give you a template of, you see that email that I talked about that you can send. We have a template for it, and we have a template also for a strong recommendation letter, guide for a recommendation letter that will make sure that what they are, because many times some of the professors that you are reaching out to for recommendation, some of them will ask you what you want to be written for you, not because they want you to say something that is bad, not because they want you to just lie. No, it's because some of them are very busy, so they just say send them a draft and they will rework it. So that sample draft, we have it, right? And we will give you all of those and prepackage all of those for you. Help you write your CV, help you write your strong SOP, give you a recommendation of 3 schools, the name of the school, how to apply, everything for just $100. That's a steal, really. But if you don't want to do that, we also have one-offs. That's why we categorize them as one-offs. And one-offs there means that they are just things, that we do once. So we have the 45 minutes consultation. So here you ask all your questions. I'm going to answer, not just to the best of our ability. You will get the answer that you need. For $30, we have the CV writing. We can help you write your academic CV for $25. We can help you write your SOP for $35. And for some people, you have already written it and you want a thorough review of it, right? We can do that for you for $40. And terms and conditions apply for that, because some people can just go and write something that is not very solid, and you now be reviewing and you'll be doing multiple reviews. So the review there might just be like twice. So we look it for you the first time, you go and work on it, and we do a second review, and that will be the final review. You are like, why should I pay for this? Why do I want to do this? Because we know that it works. right? I shared this code email sample with somebody and she sent it to a professor. Because the other thing you need to do, especially if you're applying for PhD programs or you're doing research related programs, you have to send code emails. Code emails is the answer. Cold emails is how you make yourself known to some of these people. So you have to send up to them and say, "Oh, I came across your research. I read it." So how do you talk to people when they want to answer you? I explained that strategy and gave the sample to a young lady. This application session, this is not last year. The professor replied to her in 12 minutes, answered her. As she got on the call, she said, "Don't worry, just go and submit your application. I'm going to work with you." Another young man followed the code email. This is just code email. Oh. Follow the code email and SOP writing tips that we gave. Uh, I reviewed his SOP and then he followed the code email sample that I provided. He reached out to a professor. It was when I was saying that I was talking to a professor who has been, I mean, I checked some of our papers have been as early as 2004. I didn't even know where I was as at 2004. So that's a very, very solid person. And then she saw him. She said she was begging him to come and work with them in their school because of there is a wisdom for constructing code emails, and we know it, right? And that's the reason why I should work with us. So I have placed a contact number here if you want to take a screenshot of it, and an email address. So if you want to reach out to us for some of these services, you can send that number is actually active on WhatsApp +234 701 837 0602. Our operations assistant is going to reply to you and we'll get you started depending on the service that you want. Just let them know that you came from Pathway to Global, right? And then dinaton@gmail.com if you want to send an email. That one I will even see directly. So think about this. You should get it. Tell your friends about it. You find it very, very helpful. All right. If you have any questions, this is the time to ask. I believe I've been able to help you in any way. So yeah, if you have any questions for me, please go ahead and ask now. Or just a feedback. Let me know if this helps you in any way. So let's do that real quick, please. Can anyone hear me? Or is anyone hearing me?
Yes, thank you so much. What I want to ask, how does this funding program really works? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Like, is it that when we apply for these funding programs for schools and stuff, is it that we're still going to be working for them? Like, is it not
Yeah.
free?
Well, like I said from the beginning, there's really nothing that is free in this world. Even in the US, there's nothing that is free. Uh,
Oh,
every kind of scholarship that you get in any way, there's no way that's giving scholarship to you just for free, especially institutional. I mean, there are people that give scholarship, but when it comes to full funding scholarship in the United States, I don't know about any other place, so it is necessarily not free. The idea there is, and it's not as if, listen, in the US, as a student, you can only work for 20 hours. So the thing is structured in such a way. I mean, I've been a teaching assistant for 3 semesters. That's not affected my academics. The last semester, the lady who was the most outstanding student in our department was a teaching assistant. So they don't do it in a way that is burdening that burdens you. That's where I'm going, right? So you are only working 20 hours per week. That's averagely like 4 hours per day. So you still have the time to do your classes. You are doing maybe about just 3 courses per semester. You are not burdened with so much work like an undergraduate. So um, every of these forms of assistantship means that you get to do a particular kind of work depending on the kind of scholarship that you got. And they'll pay your school fees and then they will pay you monthly also. That's fair enough if you ask me. So yeah, that's how it works. Any
okay.
other question? Does anyone have a question for me? Any other question? So again, if you want to see some of our offerings, you can take a look at them and shoot us an email. I mean, or if you want something else that is custom, right? Maybe we didn't describe it here, but it's around things like this. Do it to shoot us an email or send a text message, send a WhatsApp message on that number, and we'll definitely get to respond to you. Uh, I want to thank James from Pathway to Global or path to global rather, for the opportunity to be able to speak to you. But also thank you for staying true to the end. I believe this was helpful to you in one way or the other, and it
Please, one more
gets you
last question.
started. Yes.
Please, one more last question, please. How does this um hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Like in terms of our career, does it also affect career? Like for instance, now I'm a software developer and
Yeah.
maybe I want to go and maybe I need an education assistant in outside countries. How does it can it also help? Can it help me in terms of career wise
Yeah. Of course.
to get a job or any stuff like that?
Of course. Wait, what did you say again? To get a job, is that what you said?
Like gain more career advancement
Yeah,
with
obviously, that's why we
scholarship
go to
and
school, right? Uh,
yeah.
uh, that's why we go to school, right? We go to school so that we can advance our skills, right? So then that's why we want to make sure that the program that you are looking for, is a program that is in alignment to what you want to do, right? And of course, here in the US, the classes that you're taking are practical classes. So they're definitely relevant to the kind of things that you're doing. And of course, through your master's program, also, you can even go and get an internship. Some of my classmates worked with companies like Amazon, for their internship programs. And yeah, it's really good. So yeah. All right.
Oh,
In the absence of any other question, I want to appreciate everyone for listening to me. I appreciate James again for this opportunity. And every other person that gets to see this video in the future. Um, if you want to reach out, still want to talk or something, you can look us up also on LinkedIn, Dinaton Edu Connect on LinkedIn, on Instagram also, right? All right. And you all have a great evening and rest of your day. God bless you. Thank you so much. Right. Bye, everyone.